Hey everybody, what's going on? Your host LovelyCheesePizza here. Welcome to my brand new Let's Play series, Let's Play Doom. Oh yeah, I have been waiting such a long time to play this game, and with the knowledge that there's a new Doom game coming out later this year, now seems about as good a time as ever to play through both the original Doom and Doom 2 before it comes out. So this is going to be an awesome experience altogether. And I saw the trailer for the new Doom game about a week to a week and a half ago, and that shit blew my mind, man. It looks incredible. But it also raises the question, where the hell have I been for the last, 7 or 8 months? They had announced that game back in, May or June of last year at E3, and apparently I've just been sitting under a rock for the better part of what the hell? Did you guys see that? Oh my god! I didn't realize that American McGee was on staff for this game. Holy shit! That is awesome. American McGee is really cool. That just makes this game even better now. Oh, Mr. Carmack and Mr. Romero, you delightful bastards, you. They made a true classic, man. This is one of the timeless classics among timeless classics. It's one of the most significant titles in the history of gaming. I'll be bold enough to say it. It's rated as, I don't remember where it was, but it was rated as the 18th greatest game of all time. So that's saying some real stuff right there. And we'll get into all the rest of the particulars here in a minute, but before I keep you guys on this front screen for the rest of forever, let's get knee-deep in the dead as we follow the exploits of an unnamed UAC Marine soldier that we now know affectionately as Doomguy. We follow him as he goes on to fight hordes and hordes of the undead and minions of hell in order to survive and save the world from impending doom. So, for this series, we're going to be playing the Ultimate Doom, in case you guys weren't looking at the screen while listening to this. I figured it would just be a better option to play. I had thought about playing the original Doom that just had these 3 episodes here, but why do that when you can play the Ultimate version and have the 4th episode, Thy Flesh Consumed, packed right in there with it? And by the way, this little mouse cursor thing is terrifying to look at. It is creepy. I've been staring at it the whole time, and it's freaking me out. So, let's get knee-deep in the dead, and I say hurt me plenty. I haven't played this game in a while, and so I'm going to be a little bit rusty, and I apologize ahead of time if this gets a little bit ugly at times. But I figure it's always good to play right in the middle. I don't want to play on these because it seems too easy, and I definitely not going to play on these because I would be dying way too much. So, I say hurt me plenty. Let's go. Oh, give it to me. Oh, God. I could listen to that opening guitar riff and it never gets old. It seriously never gets old. It's just, you get that rush of nostalgia every time. Okay, so here we go. I don't even know what I could even say about, what can I possibly say about this game that hasn't been said already by everybody? I mean, I'm gonna end up saying it anyways because I have to. Who would I be if I didn't go through the process of saying everything that needs to be said about this? But this game, it's one of the most significant games of all time. This game pretty much popularized and revolutionized the FPS genre as a whole. And it also was, the pioneer driving force for immersive 3D graphics. Like modern FPS shooters, Call of Duty and Battlefield and Halo, and all these types of games have to, tip their cap to Doom, because without Doom, who knows what the scope of FPS gaming, or even just gaming in general, would even look like. I mean, this game right here is what spurred companies being like, shit, we need to start, really working on our graphics card game right now. Without that, we'd probably still be doing a shitload of, text-based adventures and whatnot. And maybe not, maybe not completely. This game isn't, the only reason why games are what they are today. But it is a very influential piece of it. This game pioneered 3D graphics. It popularized the genre, definitely. But it was also one of the driving forces in terms of online network multiplayer and mod support. I don't know if this was the very first game that had integrated mod support, but I know it was one of the first ones. And they're still making mods for this game to this day. I just saw a video just 2 days ago of somebody that had played a brand new mod that had just come out. So all these years later, I mean, we're talking what, 20 20-something years later, for some reason my brain and my math are just not happening right now. Let me hear this too. Dude, the music for this game is incredible. Like, it's definitely dated for sure, but they do such a great job with it, you know? They do such a good job at creating just like this very kind of foreboding, mysterious, kind of, you know, suspense-filled atmosphere, considering, you know, like what they're working with here. And they do an amazing job. Like, sometimes it's really suspenseful and quiet and mysterious like this, and sometimes it's just like high-octane chaos. And it's just, I love it, man. It never gets old. This is a game that no matter how long of a break I take from playing it, like, as soon as I come back in and start playing it, it's just like you get that rush of nostalgia just all over again. You're just like, oh, it's so great, man. It really is. I could sit here and say a billion things about it, but it's so good. It really is. They do such a great job with, like, creating the environments, and just like the character models for the time are so good, and just like the sound effects in here, like the sound effects for the guns, and like the weird moaning noises for the people when you kill them. It all just comes together so well, and it's good, man. Like, you know that your game's a classic that for pretty much the rest of forever, like, all the games that tried to mimic this in a sense, like, they get called Doom clones. Like, that, when a game gets called, you know, a clone of yours for many, many, many years after, that's how you know you've done it right. Because there's only a very select few games that have had that type of situation happen. Like, you get you know, games that are called, you know, Mario clones, and you get games that are called Pac-Man clones, and then you get games that are called Doom clones. I mean, that's how you know that your game is a true classic, that, you know, they will call it as such. So, you know, that's how you know that a job is well done. Alright, here we go. I forget what happens in this area here. I guess we'll just leave. I love, like, the HUD too. Like, this, it's so simplistic the way they did all this. You just have your ammo over there, your health. They got the weird little GIF of the Doomguy's face there, just looking back and forth, and it's perfect, man. Like, they didn't have to go through this whole freaking ta-da of having all this elaborate shit. You know, it's just like they did minimal stuff, but it's perfectly effective. It's exactly what they needed to do. They took just the bare essentials, the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities, and all that stuff, and made it into a game that will never be forgotten. And actually, I had just heard actually that that John Carmack went back pretty recently actually and had created a new level with the Doom, using like the Doom 1 stuff, and it was actually like a replacement for one of the boss levels on E1M8, I think it was. And I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was called Tech Gone Bad was the name of it, and I haven't actually seen what it looks like, but apparently he's still got it, man. All these years later, he's still got it, and this game still got it too. Like, you jump back into it, and no matter what, it never ceases to amaze. It truly does. I remember my first experience playing this game, actually, now that I think about it. The first place I played this was at school, of all places. A place where, oh boy, definitely not the place that you would imagine would be your first experience in that. But I didn't really get the opportunity to play it at home because I grew up in a household where my parents weren't very fond of violent games. And they still, for the most part, aren't, but I mean, I'm older now, so you can't really control that sort of thing. Like, my dad was kind of one of the main driving forces there, because he's just super against that kind of thing. Like, he draws the line at war games because, you know, of like historical accuracy and whatnot. I love that blue orb. Oh, come and get this! Oh! It just looks funny to me. But yeah, he like, if it was a war game like Medal of Honor or Call of Duty or something, he'd be super down with that, just because, you know, he's definitely a history buff, so that type of stuff really appeals to him. But, you know, a game like this where you're just walking around just obliterating the shit out of everybody, a little bit harder for him to get into that. And I totally understand it. Like, I get it. But yeah, so my first experience with it was at school. A friend of mine had it, and he had brought it to school with him, which was a really ballsy move on his part. And we were in the computer lab that day for I don't even remember what the hell it was for. So this would have been a couple of years after, you know, the game had really surfaced and been around. But he's like, hey, you want to play a game? And I was like, what game? He's like, I have Doom. And I was like, oh my god, you have Doom? Really? I haven't played it yet. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And so you know, he tosses it in there, and like we were making sure that none of the teachers were around or anything. We pop it in there, and I start going through the first level, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is amazing! I need to get this game. And that was just like, that was the excitement that you know, kids had for computer games back in that age, man. Oh, there you are. I knew you were around here somewhere. Give it to me. Yeah, there we go. Our health is looking okay. It's really, really dark in here. Back in a time when we didn't have flashlights in these games, you just had to stumble around in the dark like an idiot, hoping to God that you'd get what you needed. There we go. Yeah, bring her up. Beam me up, Scotty, up to the main part of the floor here. But yeah, dude, I remember just so fondly playing that. And like that was like the driving force that got me into FPS related games. I may have never really gotten into it in this capacity had I not, you know, if it weren't for that fateful day in the library when I had that opportunity, you know, placed in front of me. So good times, my friend, good times. By the way, I'm always open to suggestions and advice. Since I'm not, you know, the ultimate authority in everything about this game, as you've probably noticed, because I've totally already missed probably a few secrets already. So I'm always open to suggestions. If you guys know of anything that I'm missing, then please don't hesitate to tell me about it. I'm always reading the comments, and your guys' help is always appreciated. I love taking your guys' advice. Which actually, speaking of that, we've got a couple minutes left before we'll call it good for today's episode. It reminds me of a quote that I heard on Facebook, which I know, right? And here we go. But I had heard a quote on Facebook just a couple days ago from a friend, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this because I totally don't agree with his opinion at all. And so his status was as follows. He said never take advice from somebody who you wouldn't be willing to switch places with. And I read that, and like initially it kind of made sense, but then like after about a minute or so's worth of analyzing that statement, I was like, that sounds like a terrible way to think about that realistically. Like I kind of understand what he's saying, in the sense of, like, you know, don't take advice from somebody, you know, who isn't qualified to do it. I guess, you know, who doesn't have any, you know, any reason to be giving you said advice. But I think at the same time, like, I think that what he's trying to say is, like, don't take advice from somebody who's not higher up, you know. I think, and maybe I'm wrong in the way that I'm analyzing that, but I think that you can actually get, in a lot of cases, better advice from people who are, you know, considered not in the higher up position. Like, there's plenty of people that I definitely wouldn't trade places with them, but I think that they've got all sorts of, like, good quality, meaningful advice that they can give. Say, like, you know, people that had gone into the war, and, you know, they had seen all sorts of things, or just, and, you know, and even just like maybe like older people in general, that I wouldn't trade places with them based off of things that have happened in their lives, but their advice and, you know, their views on things are things that I would certainly, you know, like intently listen to what they have to say. Oh shit, I didn't mean to get in there. I didn't mean it. Hey-o! Secret. That's what I'm talking about. I love stumbling upon these things, and now we've got ourselves a rocket launcher. Yeah! This is so exciting right now. This is what I'm talking about. See, I was afraid. I was afraid that I was going to go through this game for a really long time and not find anything like that. Let's go to the shotgun. We need to go this way. We need to go this way. There we go. Let's go up. But yeah, I think that while there is plenty of good advice that you can learn from people that are in the higher up position, you know, like Fortune 500, you know, CEOs and people that are, you know, millionaires and whatnot, they definitely have, you know, great advice to give about certain things. But I think people that, you know, like, that are in, like, the downtrodden position, that, you know, maybe didn't have it all growing up, or, you know, just throughout their entire lives, I think that they have just as important types of advice that they can give. So that's just my view on that whole topic there. I apologize if I rambled a little bit on that one, but that's just kind of how I feel about that. I think that it would be very unfortunate for people to kind of live in such a limited window, so to speak, in terms of like who they would listen to, in terms of like advice for stuff. So that's what I'm trying to say. All right, you know what, guys? I think this is going to be a good place to stop for now. We just picked up a couple of new weapons in here, including the giant minigun, which is actually kind of an oxymoron there, a giant minigun. So with that said, we're going to save here, and this is a new save game. We will call this LCP1. So, when we come back on the next installment of Let's Play Doom, my friends, we are going to continue moving through E1M4. We're moving through this quite nicely, actually. It may not be a super long series, but we're going to have a blast with it. I hope you guys decide to stick around with me throughout the process, and we'll have laughs. I'll have some rage moments. I'll yell. We'll have fun story time. And, hey, you get out of here. Yeah! Alright, guys. This is your host, LovelyCheesePizza, saying thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye.